We tip off a Saturday quadruple header of hoops here on the ACC Network at the Tucker Center in Tallahassee with the Florida State Seminoles looking for their first conference win of the young season, taking on an NC State team that has twice been ranked this season, and they are on the right side of the NCAA tournament bubble right now. And welcome everybody, along with Scott Williams. I'm Doug Sherman. So glad you're with us. And in this game, both of these teams, Scott, love to shoot the three ball.
Yeah, first and second in the ACC, and three-point field goals made. And one guy that's going to have to shoot the ball well tonight is Quadir Copeland. This big, strong, physical young man, he sets the tone for how NC State likes to play. He can drive it to the basket. He finds his teammates. He's a stat sheet stuffer. One thing I like about this young man, he reminds me of Paul Pierce. Not the most explosive player, but big and strong and can finish after contact around the basket. And then on the other side, Rob McCray. He's the bus driver for the Noles. He had 17 assists in his first basketball game for Florida State. And one thing I like about this young fella is he's unselfish.
Well, they're both prone to the turnover. Copeland does everything with sizzle. He plays to the crowd. He plays to his teammates. His head coach, Will Wade, told us earlier today about Copeland. His best thing, as he has the ball to begin the ball game, is that he provides confidence for his teammates.
Yeah, I really like the way Coach Wade talks about Copeland. He had him as a player in the past, and look at this. Already gets the first assist of the game, a three-point shot from McNeil.
Yeah, Paul McNeil can heat it up in a hurry. The sophomore from Rockingham, North Carolina, averaging nearly 14 points per game. And here's how Luke Laux lines up his Seminoles again this afternoon. Chauncey Wiggins, LeJay Jones, Robert McCray, Martin Somerville, Alex Steen. This is Wiggins, number 7, the former Clemson Tiger, who has been playing very good basketball lately. Shot clock down under 5. McCray drives, had it blocked by Van Allen Lubin, and here comes the Wolfpack in their road red. Seminoles in their garnet with gold trim. McNeil, Reed, Copeland, Williams, and Lubin. And we've got our first bucket of the afternoon. Make it our second bucket of the afternoon. 5-0 Wolfpack off to the early start. Well, Scott, you talked about both these teams looking for the three ball. Florida State doesn't shoot it nearly as well as North Carolina State as they turn it over, but that is part of their DNA.
Yeah, that's something that they got to worry about. Noles cough the ball up more than any team in the ACC. They got to protect the ball against this NC State team, or they will make the play.
McNeil.
Oh, McNeil's aggressive early. He's got the quick early 5 points, and there's this turnover.
Darren Williams strong to the bucket, tries to dump it off to Copeland. Williams back out front. Breed with a quick step around Steen into the lane for the pull-up, and it's 7-0 Pack.
Wow, Pack off to a picture-perfect start here, forcing live ball turnovers, getting opportunities to score against this Florida State team that cannot get their defense set.
Here goes McCray, second in the ACC in assists. And he is fouled as he gets into the lane. Trying to stay in front of him was Allen Breed.
I like big Rob McCray. He was a big reason why they were competitive against Duke.
And there is Luke Laux, the 35-year-old Clearwater native, a Seminole through and through, played in 4 NCAA tournaments for Leonard Hamilton for the Noles. Got his degree in 2011, but then played his senior year, and he's so glad he did in 2011-2012. Won an ACC championship. The Noles at the time were fairly new, relatively speaking, to the ACC.
They're cold right now for the Noles. They can't buy a bucket. Stuck on that launch pad.
Allen Breed. Williams back out front. McNeil turned down the shot. Instead, it's Copeland, who has shot a remarkably good percentage this year at 52%.
Yeah, right now you can see Florida State's having a tough time controlling their own defensive glass.
McNeil again off the back iron. Copeland keeps it alive, and the Wolfpack controlling everything so far. Another attempt off the mark by Williams, and here comes Florida State. Lob it up ahead, Wiggins. Copeland is a pest and pokes it away. He has about a steal and a half per game. And poked that away. It'll be Florida State basketball on the baseline.
Yeah, Florida State right now has to try to get into some offensive sets. They got to try to help one another score.
McCray lobs it in to Steen, the senior transfer from Division II powerhouse Florida Southern. And back to McCray, the fifth. Wiggins from the corner. It's an air ball.
Yeah, it seems like this early start time has got the Noles still half asleep.
Lubin backing his way over Wiggins. 9-0 North Carolina State.
Well, that's what Lubin does. He does a nice job of getting down that block. He ranks #1 in the ACC in field goal percentage. He got to a spot on the floor and threw a nice little right-hand hook in.
And you know, the way North Carolina State put this roster together in the first year, Will Wade, they've got a lot of weapons, a lot of different options, 5 different players, including Lubin, averaging double figures this season.
Yeah, a lot of depth on that squad. There's Will Wade. You can see that 3-time Southland Conference Coach of the Year. Flat out gets it done. He was at LSU as well, where he won the Southeastern Conference Championship back in 2019. So this coach knows how to coach.
Yeah, first 2 years as a head coach at Chattanooga when he won his first Southern Conference Coach of the Year, then 2 at VCU, 5 at LSU, and now in his first year in Raleigh. McNeil among those snipers on the perimeter. North Carolina State's not shot it particularly well for a team that leads the ACC at 39%, and yet they still lead 9-0 as we reach the first media timeout.
It has been all NC State in this game. Look at that, 2 dribbles, middle, come back with the left shoulder turn, or right hand, and look, Lubin has got his squad flying off the launch pad.
So far in this early start here in Tallahassee, all North Carolina State.
Yeah, Wiggins got the party started with a triple, and I love this little drive to the baseline here, little floater, knocking him in. Then he handed the baton off to his mates, Free and Lubin. Nice job doing that little baseline work there. NC State is feeling real good if you're Coach Wade and staff.
And they have controlled the glass so far. You see 7-3 NC State. Now, we showed you the first 3 made by McNeil, but since that time, the Wolfpack has actually missed 6 in a row from beyond the arc. It can be fool's gold, but again, this Wolfpack team shoots it very, very well at 39%. They're not going to stop shooting just because they missed their last few.
No, and they're getting those extra possessions because they're getting on offensive glass. You mentioned the 7 rebounds. 3 of those come on the offensive end, so they're doing a good job. Florida State is at a disadvantage on the glass as it is, but they just cannot get pounded. They're -2 rebounds for the season, but if they get beat on that glass by 8 or 10 rebounds, it's going to be real hard for them to win this basketball game.
Our baseline official, Lee Cassell, just stopped play. Not sure what he saw, but head straight over to the scorer's table.
I think there might have been a shot clock issue there.
Well, while they figure that out, what does Luke Laux do as he is 4.5 minutes in and his team hasn't scored?
Yeah, he's got to get the ball into the hands of his primary players here. You know, McCray's gone to the basket a couple times. He's been close, but hasn't been able to finish inside. And then get Kobe McGee going as well. He's a little righty, strong, explosive player. He can shoot the triple, try to get something for him coming off of a down screen and get a good look at the basket.
Well, he has gone to his bench with Kobe McGee and Toma Basong in. But this is a team that endured a 5-game losing streak earlier in the year, picked up a couple of wins before the break, and since the break, getting into ACC play, they have played tough in losses at North Carolina and at Duke. So that kind of got the Noles feeling like we're heading in the right direction. He felt like they came through the holiday break having off-court group environments, grab a chair, talk, ask questions, tell your story. He said the guys have liked each other, but now they really know each other. He feels like they're heading in the right direction, just not starting things off here this afternoon. Wiggins got a good look. Basong the last to touch,
And
it goes back to the Wolfpack.
Yeah, a better look, but again, a long-range shot. When you're struggling to get off that launch pad, you missed your first four attempts. You're 0 for 2 from behind the arc. I would have liked to see even the #1 3-point shooting team in the conference take the ball inside.
And the other thing the Noles have done very well this year is turn their opponent over. Top 10 in the country in turnovers forced. Will Wade, the head coach of the Wolfpack, said that's our #1 thing. We've got to take care of the basketball. Williams off the bounce, no. Ben Allen Lubin nicely doesn't come down with it, just puts it back through. It's 11-0 NC State.
Yeah, and Lubin chews glass. This guy averages over 7 rebounds a basketball game just by getting inside and chewing that offensive glass.
And I love the fact that with Toma Basong between him and the basket, Lubin said, I'm not coming down with it, I'm just going to put it straight in.
Right, and generally you wouldn't teach a big player to do that. You'd say gather the ball first and then come down with it, go back up with strength and power. But Lubin's just so good, he's able to do it all in one motion, like you said.
Lubin's got 4 early points.
NC State doing a good job keeping Florida State outside the paint.
McGee with the catch and shoot 3, and there will be no shutout today at the top.
Well, there's Kobe McGee. We've identified him as one of the guys that's kind of have to try to get something going, he and McCray.
Well, McGee was really good against Duke the other day, made 4 out of 7, so you know he comes into this game feeling it. Around and out this time, though. And this is Matt Abel, the highly touted freshman from Baltimore, 6'6", 205. He brings an awful lot to the table for Will Wade.
Yeah, poise and toughness is what Coach Wade told us when we talked to him this morning. Some kind of like wise beyond just being just a freshman.
Well, there's Florida State taking the basketball away. The J. Jones into the paint, and the whistle, and a foul against the Wolfpack.
Well, that's what Florida State needs, right? Like, if you're getting crushed on the glass, you better get some turnovers, you better get some steals, you better get some opportunities to try to run out.
Alex Steen will check back in for Florida State. And Chauncey Wiggins will get his first rest. Florida State has good balance offensively as well. McCray averages nearly 14 per game, Wiggins 13 a game. Jones and McGee also double-figure scorers, but they continue to struggle at that end.
Yeah, I think that's why they brought Steen in. Is gets second in the ACC in offensive rebounds, over 3.5 per basketball game, and he just wasn't able to get to the boards to try to get that miss. Right now, Florida State's finding a lot of bricks up there at that basket.
The Noles have missed 5 of their 6 from long range. Copeland turned down the shot, finds the open freshman, Abel around and out. Here comes Jones, quickly into the front court. McGee is denied by Paul McNeil. Quickly back the other way. Here comes Copeland. And we've got a foul along the baseline.
These officials are really letting them play.
Well, you see in the open court what Quadir Copeland is looking to do. He makes no-look passes. He brings a little Southwest Philly to every time he takes the court. There goes Copeland, just heading to the bench for his first rest of the afternoon. Into Abel. Lubin again on the offensive glass. Couldn't come up with it. Seminoles have it.
Lubin's like wrestling an alligator down there on that glass, so he goes after everything. I think Lubin got banged up when he went to the floor. He's jogging a little gingerly.
Pick and roll, Lubin into the corner. Arsenault finds Lubin inside, who draws the foul.
They're really sharing that basketball well. Coach Wade called Lubin a pick and roll specialist, and when he got that ball on the roll, he immediately fired it to the outside, then rolled even deeper into the heart of that Noles defense, got the ball back and there was nothing that the Noles could do but foul Lubin. Wade must have took a shot to the face there. He had to give the ball back to the official and clear his vision.
Coming up next on the ACC Network, our basketball triple-header rolls on in Pittsburgh with the Panthers hosting Syracuse. And then we'll cap the day with Virginia Tech hosting Cal at 4.
Some good action there. Now Lubin, this kid, he was at North Carolina, really came on in the second half of the season, and he is continuing that good play here to the early part of this ACC year.
Yeah, 4th different school in 4 years, 3 of them in the ACC. Notre Dame is freshman year, Vanderbilt is a sophomore, last year in Chapel Hill, and then this year at Raleigh. That sort of thing would have been unheard of in your day. Who would transfer from one to the other or back?
Yeah, I don't know if you'd be allowed that. It wouldn't be safe for you back in the 80s and 90s to transfer from Carolina to either NC State or Duke.
He's Scott Williams, the former Tar Heel. I'm Doug Sherman here in Tallahassee. Shot clock running down on the Noles again. And off the mark with a shot, Cam Miles. Wolfpack on top, up by 10, make it up by 12. They get up the floor in a hurry, and Moussa Sanye makes it 15-3 State.
It's just something you can't have. You got to have some defensive balance. You can't give up a transition layup after a missed shot. Got to rotate back and pick up, and right now it's just been the Noles. They have just been so, NC State, been so aggressive at attacking the interior.
As expected, both teams shoot a lot of threes. The only problem is that for Florida State, none of them are going in.
No, they're not. They're not making much of anything. We got one by Kobe McKee, and that's pretty much it. But it's the points in the paint. 6-0 points in the paint, and it's been Florida State has not even been able to penetrate. This NC State defense has been suffocating.
NC State is 1 of 8 from 3. Florida State 1 of 7. Arsenault with the takeaway for State.
That's going to drive Coach Love just mad. You get the timeout, you set up a play, you can barely get the ball over half court before you turn it over. They dodged the bullet. Not giving up a field goal there.
And a pregnant pause by McGee after making that 3.
Yeah, his second of the game, and you're right. Maybe that's the one to try to get these guys going just a little bit here, holding that follow through. I mean, hoping his team will follow his lead.
Abel back out to Williams, averaging over 14 per game. He is yet to score. Just over 9 minutes gone here in Tallahassee. Green gets it swatted out of there. Right out to Abel, who buries the 3.
They make a great play defensively, but it goes right to the hot shooter out there on the perimeter, and he knocks it down. Now there's a good drive to the basket. Uh-oh. Young man went down like a bag of bricks. Well, you go inside, you get your big fella and swat that thing outside. Unfortunately, he hit it right to a pack player, and he's able to stroke that triple. Instead of giving up 2 inside, you get burned and give up 3 on the outside.
Block shot by Shah Muhammad as Coach Laux has gone big with both he and Wiggins on the floor. At the line is Cam Miles, the freshman from Chicago. His father, Jimmy Miles, played 3 years for Homer Drew back in the early 2000s at Valparaiso. And Cam still calls Chicago home, even though the family moved to Orlando when he was a 6th grader. So he's very comfortable here in the Sunshine State. Couple of free throws. And the Seminoles back within 10.
Yeah, Seminoles trying to pick up a little further, higher out defensively to disrupt this NC State attack.
Williams from the corner. Got it. Darian Williams, the senior from Sacramento, with his first points of the afternoon.
Yeah, you're going to see him do a lot of everything And he's just a tough cover. He can put the ball on the floor. He can drive it to the hole. I mean, this guy was a preseason all ACC performer, so you know he can play.
Miles. Once again, shot clock down. A contested shot taken by Florida State. Turned right back over. The Noles get it back.
Yeah, tried to make the home run pass down the floor there. They've been able to get their fast breaks game going a little bit, but maybe too aggressive by Williams on that toss.
As you can see, Will Wade and a couple of his players trying to convince the officials that their player was being held, to no avail.
Yeah, but I like this crew, right? They've been consistent. They've been letting them bang. They've been letting them hold and scratch a little bit out there, not blowing up too many whistles in the first part of this first half.
Somerville has his pass knocked away. Arsenault to Williams, immediately picked up. He finds Abel right on the money.
Well, NC State is trying to blow the doors off the Noles here in this first half.
Out of bounds. Kobe McGee was on the end line when he was touching the ball, and it's now a 6-0 run for NC State.
Yeah, well, just a good extra pass. Defense can't rotate as fast as the basketball, and Abel knocked it down. Again, with the backcourt pressure, got to try to do something to disrupt this State attack. 24-8. You couldn't have asked for a better start on the road in the ACC if you're Coach Wade.
Copeland goes behind the back, kick to the corner. Open look for Arsenault is good for three. The redshirt junior from Beaumont makes it 27-8.
Yeah, they have spaced them out nicely in this basketball game. They kind of just hit them over the head with a bag of nickels and just got a lot of different players doing a lot of good things out there.
Well, for a point guard like Copeland, it must be a real treat to have so many capable shooters around the perimeter who you can find.
It's wonderful for this young man. He just gives the basketball up. Well, one thing I like about it, though, he hits guys where they're ready to catch and shoot. It's one thing to pass the ball, but it's another thing to pass it with precision.
This is Toma Basong, a freshman from Paris.
Coach Lux is going deep into his bench, trying to find some combination of guys that just want to go out there and compete. And sometimes that's what you just got to do here. You're really taking it on the chin. Just find some guys that want to compete, kind of just start cutting into that deficit, try to get a little momentum going to the locker room, and maybe anything could happen in the second half.
Abel. He has a tremendous stroke. That is 3 made threes for the freshman from Baltimore.
Yeah, it's deadly, and it's a quick release. He doesn't think about it too much.
Another in and out shot for the Seminoles, and it goes back to the Wolfpack.
Tough break down there. Was that Jones down there along that baseline? He made a tremendous spin move. That ball was halfway down in the basket before it spat out on the right side.
And we highlighted Robert McCray, the fifth off the top, the point guard for Florida State. He has yet to put his imprint on this game. Williams got it. The Wolfpack are shooting the lights out now. Coach Laux calls timeout. That is 6 straight made threes for NC State.
It is raining threes in Tallahassee. Abel with a couple triples. And then on the other side, Williams says, let me call my own number and knock one down from the left side. All NC State.
Women's college basketball takes over the ACC network every Sunday, and we've got a quadruple header lined up for you starting at noon tomorrow. First, Boston College takes on Virginia Tech. Then Florida State battles Miami. That'll be followed by Georgia Tech hosting Clemson at 4. And we'll cap the day in Raleigh with SMU versus NC State. And that's at Reynolds Coliseum, where the women Wolfpack played their games. The men actually played back in December, a standalone game. They call it the Heritage Game against Texas Southern back in their former home, Reynolds Coliseum, which I think is pretty cool.
I do know about Reynolds Coliseum, and there's a good bucket for the Noles fighting it inside. That's what I want to see. Take a little more fight right to the heart of that NC State defense.
Well, it had been a 15-1 run for NC State to open up the big lead.
I love that right there. Just a good power move right inside to the paint there. Throwing that thing in off the glass.
Well, Toma Basong, the first Seminole other than Kobe McGee to put it through the cylinder so far here this afternoon. Copeland's pass deflected away. Basong to the left hand. Turning defense into offense like the Noles need to do.
Yeah, you got to sometimes just get a little bench where you know someplace where you don't expect it from when you're struggling. And look at this one, forced back-to-back turnovers.
Abel's pass, a little too tall for Williams. Little life in the building now for the Seminoles.
Yeah, that's what the Seminoles do really well. They force over 10 steals a game, and then I love this creating offense with your defense when you're struggling to score back-to-back buckets inside.
Well, no Florida State starters have scored yet 13 minutes into the game. Here's McGee, who has made a couple of threes, takes it to the bucket, can't get the bounce.
Check that rim. Seems like these Noles have had a couple shots that have hung around that rim but have not gone in. Is that Williams again?
It was Copeland. And it looks like we may have a technical foul. It is against Quadier Copeland after he made the three.
Well, Coach Wade is not happy. Now he calls Copeland his yapper, and he is really upset with that young man and pulled him out of the game.
Well, he spent his first 2 years at Syracuse playing for the Hall of Famer Jim Boeheim as a freshman, and then for Adrian Autry his sophomore year before transferring to McNeese State and playing last year and this year for Will Wade. And all three of those head coaches know that you've got to take the good with the bad when it comes to Quadier Copeland.
Yeah, and you know, in the young man's defense early on at least, sometimes that you're kind of talking to, maybe you heard something on the bench was said when you were shooting it, but you got to realize you're up 20 and everything is going really well for you in your squad. Sometimes you just have to backpedal and head on down the floor and leave that alone, because a couple free throw opportunities, which they made 1 out of 2, and then get an opportunity to kind of run a set play here. You don't want to change the momentum of this game needlessly.
Abel got a hand on the basketball to slow down Basong. Now Jones into the lane. And this time off the window for 2 plus the foul.
Well, that's kind of exactly what I was talking about. The change suddenly in the attitude of the Seminoles. You get the freebie on the free throw. Jones comes down with a hard fought basket. They finally got one of those interior shots to go down. And now a 3-point opportunity. So this could potentially be a 4-point play for Florida State, a team that was pretty lifeless, now showing that they do have a heartbeat.
Well, Jay Jones with the 3 points. Those are the first points of any Florida State starter here this afternoon. The senior from Neptune Beach, Florida, allows for the Noles to pick up full court. Foul in the backcourt against Basong, who has given them a boost coming off the bench. The young man from France. 6'8", 203.
Yeah, long, athletic, energetic. You're absolutely. He has been that bench bump that they have needed. You know, with his couple buckets inside, the steals, pressuring in the backcourt. They've been letting that kind of contact go. I was a little surprised that was.
Our officials today: Lee Cassell, Trey Steins, and Chris Merlot. Lubin with a terrific pass inside, unable to do anything with it. Arsenault, other than to get it to Williams, who misses. Long rebound stays with NC State.
Yeah, that State really doing a nice job on the offensive glass. And a reach was that McGee slapping at Williams. He'll get whistled for the foul. Just the 4th team foul right now on Florida State, so side out of bounds, but again, killing them on the glass.
Yeah, 21-7 at last count. Wolfpack dominating the glass over the Seminoles.
21-7. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they got to do a better job of controlling their defense and glass. You can't keep playing defense without playing offense. And Williams, he's too big and strong inside.
Well, he's a grown man at 6'6", able to score at all three levels, and he gets that deep. Easy 2 points for Williams.
Yeah, Red Raider last couple years uses his strength and his size around the basket really well.
8 points now for Williams, who closes out on McGee. Lubin and Jones were after it.
Yeah, I think
third foul on LeJay Jones.
Oh no, that's bad news. You got to get a sub in for him, so you're already down by nearly 20 points, and then one of your key players picks up 3 in the first half. Trying to get on the offensive glass, but just this little swipe right there when you were trying to get a board that you're not in position for. It's an easy call for the officials to make.
Going to Williams again, draws a second defender. That means Abel is open, and he's got the touch again. Now 12 points for the top 25 recruit last year. Young man from Baltimore now with 12 to lead all scorers.
Yeah, 4 triples, doing it from the outside. So at some point in time, you got to know your personnel. You know, KYP is what we say in the NBA, and the same thing applies here in college. If you've got a hot shooter that's knocking down 3 triples on you, you want to make sure he doesn't get a 4th, but he knocked that one down because he's getting clean looks. You can give NC State a lot of credit. They are moving that basketball and really spacing these Seminoles out, and they're doing it with precision passes.
So Abel goes out, Allen Breed comes back in. Front end of the 1-and-1 missed by Robert McCray V, the senior from Columbia, South Carolina, averaging 14 a game, still scoreless today.
Yeah, they're leading scorers, just can't get it done.
Again, Williams going 1-on-1, backing down the smaller defender, and a foul on the rebound.
Well, they're doing such a good job not fouling most of this quarter, then it seems like every time, and either on the defensive end or the offensive end, they're getting whistled for fouls. So their next foul is the State will be shooting the front end of 1-and-1.
Double team off the inbound. Arsenal. Williams draws the foul. Crafty.
Yeah, wanted to show the three-point shot to get the defender to close out because they've been getting just torched from behind the line. Then when the defender gets off his feet, for all you young players out there, you don't want to go around the defender. You want to go through the side of the defender's body, especially Williams, as you said, crafty, knowing he's going to earn himself a tip to the free throw line.
Well, he grew up attending Sacramento Kings games at Old Arco Arena, where his mom, Catherine, used to work. And he has had an interesting journey. You talked about Texas Tech the last 2 years, but he didn't have a lot of scholarship offers coming up through Capital Christian School. Went to Nevada his freshman year and really does credit his head coach there, Steve Alford, for helping him become a better shooter and a better player, and with his hard work, his career has really taken off.
Yeah, I've covered a couple of his games last year. The kid plays with power, he plays with an intensity, he's got a high motor. Yeah, he's fun to watch. He's like a throwback player.
Yeah, 6'6", 225, he's now got 10 points, and that has happened quickly.
There's a good strong drive. Was that McCray going down that right lane line? So again, when you can't get it going from the outside, you've been stuck on that launch pad, you hadn't scored a point all night long, you got to get yourself to that free throw line. This little lefty needs to see that ball. Just visualize it going through the basket, work on his stroke a little bit, so maybe his next outside shot will be true.
Well, he was so good in the loss to Duke, 3 for 3 shooting the basketball from deep. He is a pass-first point guard with Florida State, but he can fill it up too. He put 36 on Stetson a couple of years ago for Jacksonville and was first team all-conference last year with the Dolphins before transferring back to the ACC. Of course, he began his college journey at Wake Forest. but he has had a sluggish start along with the rest of the Seminoles to this afternoon's ball game.
It seemed like the Seminoles fell back into some sort of a loose press, and Lubin flashed to the middle, and again, the passing by NC State has just been perfect in the early part of this basketball game. And Lubin caught that ball, and he knows what to do with it when he gets a ball below the letters of the ACC logo down there.
He sure does, Scott. Ben Allen Lubin leads the ACC in field goal percentage at 66%, and he's even better in the second half. 77% of the shots he takes after the break go in.
My goodness, I mean, that's getting it done. I used to thought I was a pretty good field goal shooter at 55%. Make me feel like Allen Iverson up there throwing up brick after brick. I'll tell you, this guy here, he's put on about 10 to 15 pounds of muscle too since he was at North Carolina.
Great cut. Great find. Steen with the assist and the layup by Cam Miles.
Yeah, we sang his praises, and he turns his head and gets burned on a backdoor layup. So good opportunity there for NC State. Now, like you say, they've gone back into this zone defense, but it's got a lot of holes inside.
Lubin, as the Wolfpack continue to dominate on the glass. Almost every possession, it seems like they get 2 and 3 looks. Somerville with a step along the baseline has his pass poked out of bounds. NC State ball. McGee was the last to touch it.
Well, this was a beautiful backdoor play by the Noles there to get a bucket inside. Maybe that'll be the one that gets them going offensively.
Matt Abel originally committed to Miami, but when Jim Larinaga retired, he reopened his recruitment. And after NC State filled its head coaching job with Will Wade, this young man became his first recruit. And I'll tell you what, Scott, he is thrilled to have him here today.
Coach Wade, smart man there. He knocked it down right, left, center, right. Doesn't matter on the floor wherever he's at. He's got 4 of them, 12 points, leading all scores. Doing a fantastic job.
So he is closing in on what would be a season high. Went for 15 out in Maui against Seton Hall, already with 12. And after a slow start shooting the basketball, the ACC's best percentage-wise three-point team has been shooting the lights out.
Here's McNeil Jr., another triple. Bam.
On cue, Paul McNeil Jr., who earlier this season put 47 points on Texas Southern. He's now got 8. And this is the largest lead of the afternoon.
Yeah, those 47 points. He did it on 11 made three-point field goals, set a NC State record, tied an ACC record with our own ESPN's Dennis Scott and one other. So you know this man can fill it up from behind the arc. Better get a hand in his face.
Yeah, those are the most points by an ACC player since NC State's all-time leading scorer Rodney Monroe put 48 on Georgia Tech back in 1991. Ooh, we should mention Craig Dawson in 02 for Wake Forest also had 11 made threes in one game along with 3D.
Yeah, I tell you what, Rodney Monroe and Chris Corciani back in the 80s and 90s. We call them Fire and Ice. Do you remember those two cats? Those guys.
Tom Gugliotta.
Tom Gugliotta, that's right. He was on those squads as well. Chucky Brown's in the house as well. He was a little bit before those dudes, but he was out there doing his thing. That's when they played in Reynolds.
Yep.
And they had the floor. It wasn't wood. It was like this rubber tartan surface that we played on.
I remember you and
I got
I
to
are
a fight with Brian D'Amico on at Reynolds one time.
Punches thrown?
More shoves than anything else. A lot of jawing.
McNeil gets into the lane. Off the hesitation, the three by Terrence Arsenault hit the side of the backboard, and here comes Florida State at the other end. Heading to the free throw line will be Kobe McGee.
That's what I'm talking about, Seminoles. Clear defensive class and get your transition game going. That's the basketball we saw them play in the ACC against North Carolina and then Duke last game. Rebound the ball and run.
No surprise, Will Wade not agreeing with that call. Still working the officials along the far sideline as Kobe McGee puts in another free throw. He's got 8 points. He's been the best offensive weapon for Luke Loucks so far today. He went straight up.
He's still giving it to him. He's at 26 points, and he's riding that official like he's down by 10.
Well, he has taken his teams to 7 NCAA tournaments in the last 8 years that have been played as head coach at VCU, LSU, and McNeese State. Of course, that excludes 2020 with the pandemic when they didn't have an NCAA tournament. So there was a quick bump immediately in energy. Got into the transfer portal and did very, very well recruiting players who fit well together and also who come from winning programs, which is a big part of what Coach Wade and his staff were looking for.
Yeah, another defensive class, and Wiggins controlling his area down there on that board.
McCray to the right hand for his first made field goal this afternoon. 48-26 NC State.
Yeah, I know I'm still down by over 20, but this is a nice little bump of energy, right? Some buckets inside and some good defensive stop, getting out and running. 6-0 run for the Seminoles.
And that ensures this won't be the lowest scoring first half of the season for Florida State. They only had 24 against Texas A&M earlier in the year.
Well, I love this young man right here. I call him Axon Jackson in a pair of basketball shorts because he's always moving. I mean, that's the guy I thought we were going to see from the jump today. Now he's starting to pick it up. Something about an early tip time. Sometimes you don't have a shoot around that morning. You have kind of a walkthrough or a chalk talk. But now they're starting to find their stride here at 1 o'clock.
Tonight, freshman phenom Caleb Wilson and 17th ranked North Carolina host Wake Forest at 6 Eastern. Then following that game, we will debut our documentary chronicling the 1993 national championship winning UNC team led by Dean Smith. You'll get never before seen footage as well as interviews with players and coaches. That's all tonight on ACCN and the ESPN app.
I love that.
Well, I would expect you to. You played.
Coach Smith was like my daddy. He was like my second father when I was at North Carolina. I wrote my book. I had to put him on the cover of my book.
Wiggins has been held in check. That was actually Shah Muhammad with the missed shot.
That's going to be free throws the other way now. Trying to get on the offensive glass. Got a little too aggressive coming over the back here, pushing underneath. But you got to do something, right? Like you're down by 20. You got to do something to try to get some extra possessions. But the officials here, I guess about the last 5 or 6 minutes of game time, really tightened up their whistles.
Moussa Sanye, freshman from the Gambia in West Africa, at the foul line. We should mention NC State playing without Trey Holloman again today with an ankle sprain, but he's making progress. The senior missed their last game, but is expected to come back for their next game. There he is, and he was in uniform with the other guys for pregame warm-ups. He has gotten rid of the boot, so he is certainly trending in the right direction.
Yeah, good to see these guys out here.
McCray, you know, he had a high jump record as a high schooler in track and field of 6 feet 10 inches. We saw a little taste of that right there.
Yeah, a little hang time down there around the basket. That being lefty, I think, just fools players sometimes. He gave a little advantage because they think they're used to playing against right-handed offensive players. And you get to the left, you get just a half second more to operate.
Well, he won a state championship in the high jump in Columbia, South Carolina for AC Flora High School. He also played football, was the quarterback and wide receiver at times, and played high school basketball for his dad, Robert McCray IV. Darian Williams gets the roll for NC State.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous of his hops. I couldn't jump over a hard bench at my best, at most athletic.
Well, at 6'10", you didn't need to jump as much, right?
I could barely get over a curve these days.
2 made free throws for Williams. 53-28. The Wolfpack has been in complete control right from the start. Florida State didn't score until after the first media timeout. This is the most points scored in the first half since their game against NC Central way back in November. Layup by Cam Miles.
Nice job. Miles was hiding out in that left corner, and State forgot about him. And like a bullet, he shot out of that corner, and a great find to get a bucket inside. They've gone inside more this second part of this first half here, getting some success with it.
And I'll be curious to see if we get a chance to see Quadir Copeland play again here this afternoon. Since he picked up his technical foul, Will Wade has made it very clear that's a problem. So he's been on the bench ever since.
Yeah, he didn't like it. I think he sent him a message for sure. I'd be a little surprised if he gets some second half action, but you best believe that Coach Wade's going to give him even a little bit more of an earful, let him know if he does something like that in the second half, he won't see the floor the rest of the day.
McCray off the hesitation, goes around Lubin and hangs in the air to draw another foul.
Is that vert you're talking about right there?
That is.
It is so explosive off the ground, and you mentioned it's like a hang time.
Well, again, he is quite capable of scoring, but in his Florida State debut, he set an all-time program record with 17 assists against Alcorn State. I mean, he is a guy who really makes this offense go.
Yeah, let's say I talk about how he's such a strong left-hand driver. They overplayed him to take away the left, but he's still skilled enough to take the ball hard with the right hand.
Shah Muhammad back in. Wiggins also on the floor for Florida State.
Yeah, I know Florida State down by 22 right now, right? But they got a little momentum, a little life. They found a little something here these last 5-6 minutes. At least they can take to the locker room and feel good about it.
Sonia gets the three off in time, and he banks it in. Everything going NC State's way. 56-31 the score at the break.
Well, it started raining threes for the guys that you would think would make threes. You didn't think Sonia was going to knock one down, a buzzer beater going to the half.
NC State has weapons up and down the roster.
I played 9 guys in their last basketball game. 4 of them scored more than 4. All of them scored more than 4 points.
It's halftime here in Tallahassee. Time here in Tallahassee, Florida. Florida State struggling, while NC State at one point made 7 consecutive three-point shots to open up this 25-point lead. When we come back, Scott Williams and I will have highlights and first half stats from the Tucker Center. It's halftime here at the Tucker Center. The home team down by 25 on what has been a shooting display for the visitors from Raleigh. And welcome back, everybody. Doug Sherman along with Scott Williams. The Wolfpack come in leading the ACC in three-point shooting. And I'll tell you what, Scott, 11 for 21 as a team. 6 different NC State players made three-point shots.
Yeah, they did not disappoint. They were raining threes from all over the place, but they did it by helping one another with precision passing. And once they start seeing those things go in, they just do what they do. Nobody wants to be that guy that misses. You mentioned 6 different guys. They got it from the traditional shooters, but also got some of the bigs out there behind the arc, knocking in triples. I love that one right there to beat the half. And with the camaraderie on that NC State team is really high right now. Florida State found a little something at the end of the break there. Started getting some play from their bench, but their starters got to get going. They're getting outscored 35-11 by the NC State starters.
Yeah, the Florida State bench outscored its starters 20-11. So Luke Laux going deep into that bench, and let's see how deep he will go. He does start the second half with a change in the starting lineup. Toma Basong gets the start, and Chauncey Wiggins, who basically laid an egg in that first half. He played 18 minutes and 43 seconds. No points, 2 rebounds. Missed all 3 of his shots. They were only three-point shots. So he will play from off the bench if indeed he comes into the ballgame.
Yeah, Basong was that guy that gave him that energy, right? He only had the 5 points, but he had a steal, he had a transition basket, he hard spot bucket inside.
Well, Robert McCray, the 5th, the ACC's second leading assist man, is proactive, looking for his own shot to start the second half.
Yeah, of those 11 starters points, he had 6 of them, and he decided, I'm a senior. I got to lead this team. We have to get started faster than we did in this first half. He goes inside and gets him a bucket inside.
And by the way, for NC State, same starting 5 in the second. Quadir Copeland, who after picking up a technical foul in that first half, did not play again, but he is out there to start the second. Starting point guard who has been playing at an all-conference level this season.
Yeah, I think Coach Lutz told his team, hey, our threes aren't falling. We had 12 points in the paint. All of those came in the last half of that first half. Let's go inside, see if we can't get NC State in some foul trouble by taking the ball inside. This is a little coach's challenge here. Take a look at this one more time and trying to see who this ball goes off of.
Last touch by Florida State. Florida State has challenged that call.
It looks like Lubin has it kind of in 2 hands, and as he spins away, it flies out of bounds.
So while they take a look, we will step aside. 56-33, the Wolfpack in control. A successful coach's challenge for Luke Louts, as the officials found that Ben Allen Lubin indeed was the last to touch, and so for Florida State, they will keep their timeout and they reserve one more coach's challenge after the successful challenge. So well done for the 35-year-old head coach.
The ball was last touched by NC State. It will be a successful coach's challenge for Florida State. They'll retain their 30-second timeout and have possession of the ball with 20 seconds on the shot clock.
The youngest head coach currently in Division I basketball, back at his alma mater where he played 4 years for Leonard Hamilton, was a very good point guard back in the day. Off the inbound, Steen, the inbounder, able to come in and grab the air ball that was put up by LeJay Jones. And so now Steen made a couple of foul shots in the first half. Will go back to the line.
Yeah, and that's what Steen does. This guy is second in the ACC in offensive rebounds, over 3.5 O boards a game. That's like 50% of the O board of the total rebounds that he gets. And you mentioned that he knocked in a couple free throws in that first half. See if he can get a couple more here in the second half. But he's got to get himself going as well. He's got to be that energy dude that can really kind of set a fire, set picks, roll hard, get this team fired up about getting some buckets inside. They're doing a good job going inside here.
Yeah, that t-shirt I like. Steam Machine makes the second free throw.
Look at it, more full court pressure here by the Noles, trying to get some more turnovers and cut into that large deficit.
Pressure handled nicely by NC State. Quadir Copeland given room to take the three, turns it down. Good hustling defense by Florida State. Find the open man on the right wing, and it's missed by Arsenault. Here comes McCray in a blur. Pass back to him, deflected. McCray's got it. Dump it off. Steen. Taken away by Copeland.
We didn't see a whole lot of Copeland after he got that tech.
Basson called for the foul, and that is his fourth.
But doing good things here as Copeland. When you young bigs, and Steen's not a young player, but when you relatively young, when you bring that ball down below your waistband, bad things happen to you. And Copeland was able to use those athletic hands to stole that ball away.
McNeil under control off the front iron. Somerville and McCray running. It's McCray to the bucket, off the window for two.
Oh my, he jumped up and kind of contorted his body with that hang time and used his offhand. Remember, he's a lefty, used his right hand to throw that thing over the top of the defense.
He's the first Seminole to reach double figures with 10. Little bit of life here inside the Tucker Center.
This is a lot more life from the Seminoles than we saw in that first half. Here's another steal.
LeJay Jones. And the Noles keep coming. They were down 11-0 to start the game, trailed by as many as 28. It's now back to a 17-point ball game.
Yeah, the Tuck is starting to come alive too. Fans getting into this because they've gotten something to cheer about.
8 unanswered points for Florida State. That run is stopped by Darian Williams.
Oh, Darian Williams. He said, hey, calm down, people. We're still in control of this. Wants to make sure that this team realizes they're in a good place.
Mr. Offensive Rebound does it again. Alex Steen with the throwdown.
That's what I was talking about, the energy that Steen can provide there with those offensive boards, and I love that follow jam. Oh, McCray, bad foul, 35 feet away from the basket.
Florida State foul number 6.
Well, when you think 6'9" basketball player, you don't think hockey, but the young man who grew up in Minnesota actually played hockey until the family moved south, and he had a growth spurt, and he said, you know what, this basketball thing might work out.
Yeah, he does a great job. I mean, closing in on 800 rebounds for his career. And he's still got a lot left to go in this year. And let me just tell you all, you can start getting over 700, 800 rebounds. That means that you are playing with a desire and intensity. You want to clean that glass.
Yeah, and he was also an 1,100-point scorer over 3 years at Division II Power Florida Southern. Big answer for NC State. Yet another three-pointer, their first made here in the second half, and it's back to a 20-point game. Steen working on Lubin. Bad pass taken away by Copeland, who once again says, give me that. Bounce pass to Lubin in transition, and the big man who took the pass about 20 feet from the bucket, able to put it on the floor and draw the foul.
I love that about both Copeland and Lubin, right? Guys with size that have good wheels, have good hands. You can throw the ball to Lubin about just any place on this court, and something good's going to happen for that young man.
Lubin, one of 4 Wolfpack in double figures this afternoon.
Steve, when he gets that ball down on that block, he's got to learn to be a little bit more selfish and try to finish. He tried to make that pass along the baseline, and I would love to see him try to just go up with some power through the defender and see if he can't get a bucket or get a foul.
Two for two at the stripe for the senior from Orlando. 62-41 NC State. Kobe McGee, drive and dish, and denied by Lubin. Copeland steps through right to the rim and lays it in.
That does not take NC State long after a steal or a block shot to get that thing into the scoring area. Nice job by Lubin protecting the paint.
A little friendlier rim at this end as A.J. Swinton gets into the ball game and now into the scoring column.
Yeah, the scoring is really heating up for Florida State, which is good to see. I mean, they scored, was it 31 points in that first half, but a lot of those came late.
Lubin give the assist to McNeil.
Just trading buckets now. Lubin, I tell you, I like his size, his frame, his hands, his concentration, and his finishes around the basket.
Here comes NC State again. Copeland trying to find a teammate. Pass deflected out of bounds. It'll stay at this end. Last to touch was A.J. Swinton, who just before this timeout, able to find the range on the outside.
Well, trying to steal a page out of that NC State book where they knocked in 11 threes. Florida State wants to get a couple threes of their own, and then the big, strong Mack truck going down the middle of the lane for a bucket.
The headline this week around Florida State athletics is that Jason Lopez, young man from Miami, signed in December for both football and basketball here at FSU. He enrolled early, arrived on Sunday. His first practice was Thursday, and he joins or will join a list that includes Lee Corso, Brad Johnson, who went on to a 15-year NFL career as a quarterback, and then, of course, Heisman Trophy winner and longtime NBA standout guard Charlie Ward, as Florida State players who came to Tallahassee and played both football and basketball.
That's amazing.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
So the idea is that Lopez, you know, he's not in basketball shape. He's only gone through a couple of days of practice. But they do expect to use him at some point this year. The possibility of a red shirt is still there, but Luke Lautz is enticed by the talent. He was a high 3-star basketball recruit, a 4-star football recruit, and as a wide receiver and as a point guard, both programs are so happy he's here on campus early.
Yeah, Coach Laux, he was singing his praises in our little Zoom call that we had with him on Thursday. He just says, unfortunately, the young man doesn't know any of the plays yet, so got to try to get him acclimated to exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, part of the reason why he's not in full uniform today is that they're still waiting for the uniform number 8 to show up. They
I
ordered it on short notice.
I can't believe that they don't have a uni they could have slapped the 8 on the back of.
Well, they've got 5 different versions, and so they've got to get 5 versions of number 8. And apparently, they couldn't get all 5 done.
Just get like a plain one with a Sharpie and just draw an 8 on the back of it. Oh my gosh!
Paul McNeil Jr. now with 14 points. And on that last graphic we showed about the multi-sport athletes, people forget about Lee Corso. Of course, we remember him for the last, 35 years on ESPN and on College Game Day as Arsenault scores.
Yeah, this is getting ugly right
but
now.
Here at Florida State, as we have the biggest lead of the day, Lee Corso was a great football player. When he graduated, he was the program's all-time leader in career interceptions, as well as being their quarterback. In baseball, he was good enough that the Brooklyn Dodgers offered him a contract to play baseball. And then that one season, he suited up for the basketball team here at FSU, got into 1 game, and so he is a football basketball guy on that list.
It truly is an amazing ability to be able to do that. Look at Williams going inside, just wrecking havoc with his large frame, taking out players underneath. But NC State right now, they got a couple of dudes on their squad, I think, as well, that could probably play a little football. I could see Williams being like a middle linebacker.
He's 6'6", 225. Yeah, I can see it too.
You think he's only 225? I think he's probably closer to 240 pounds, maybe 245.
I'll let you say that. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, well, he could play, tight end? What's Travis Kelce? Isn't he about that height, that size? Or maybe Travis Kelce might be closer to 285. Huh?
No question, he's got the build of a football player.
He's got the touch of a basketball player, calmly knocking down that free throw there, pushing their 30-point cushion now for NC State.
Well, coming up in high school out in California while you were being recruited by everybody in the country for basketball, did you play any football at 6'10"?
Now, my first love was baseball, and I was a great baseball player, home run hitter, played pitcher, shortstop, first base. But then my strike zone started getting a little too big. And they didn't throw that thing down at my knees. I couldn't get down there to go get it.
Paul McNeil. Arsenault active on the offensive glass, the former Houston Cougar, who played in last year's national championship game, the loss for Houston to Florida. Again, one of 9 transfers in for first-year head coach Will Wade, and the majority of them played in last year's NCAA tournament.
Yeah, he went out and got some guys that are winners, know how to play, got some senior experience on that squad. He got people in Raleigh real excited about the Wolfpack. The season tickets have gone up by almost 15%.
He brought 2 of them with him from McNeese, including the man with the basketball, Quadir Copeland. They made it to the tournament last year and knocked off Clemson in the first round. Shot clock at 2. McNeil fouled on the shot. It'll be a 3-shot foul against Robert McCray the 5th.
Yeah, I just don't understand that for the life of me. We've done a number of games now together, Doug, and we constantly see defenders trying to challenge 3-point shots and committing fouls. It's all you got to do at this point right now is stay on the ground and get a hand up. No reason to jump at that ball. Very rarely are 3-point shots blocked. All you got to do is try to get a hand into vision of the shooter, not try to get up towards the ball. That's when you start getting guys on the wrist.
And so now that's the 4th personal on Robert McCray the 5th rather. And at this point, Luke Laux, down by 30 points, is going to keep his leader on the floor.
He doesn't have a choice. He's the one guy that's been playing with some energy, and like you said, down by 31. There's no place else he can go. He does not have anybody that has given him the energy that McCray has.
McNeil gets 2 out of 3 from the line. A 12-0 run for the Wolfpack.
They have tried just about everything. They've tried the half-court zone defense. They've tried the full-court zone defense. Florida State just can't find a way to stop this NC State attack. Offensively, they've been better, but defensively, they can't get it going.
Somerville's pass knocked away. Arsenault with the steal. McNeil fumbled it. Here's Copeland getting downhill, and he's fouled. Count the basket, and one.
He is a special kind of talent, this young man. He got that ball a good step outside that three-point line and used his offhand, his left hand, to start his move to the basket. And as the defense comes over, he switches back to his right hand, absorbs that contact, and a great concentration to finish the play.
Well, that style of play he picked up in Kings Essing Park in Southwest Philly. It's about a 10-minute walk away every day from home. This is before cell phones. He and his buddies just would show up every day and spend their entire day in the park.
I think they're going to get McCray for another foul. Is that going to be 5 on him? Pushing off, trying to get that ball. I think that was a 5th on McCray. He's fouled out with over 13 minutes to play, so Coach Laux rolled the dice and came up snake eyes as they've lost their best player for the remainder of this ball game.
Abel, the freshman, just into the game. And he has to use a timeout. Took the inbound along the baseline, got double teamed immediately. So we'll take a 30-second break as well and be right back to the Tucker Center after this. Robert McCray, the 5th, averaging 7 assists per game, top 10 in the country, 14 points per game, has fouled out with those 10 points, and it's just been that kind of afternoon for Florida State.
Yeah, nothing's gone right for Coach Laux and his squad. You know, defensively, they can't get many stops. Offensively, can get nothing going. Now they've lost their best player, and they're just in a world of hurt. NC State, give a lot of credit where credit is due. They have spaced this team out behind the three-point arc. They drive the ball hard to the hole, and they get another bucket inside.
Quadir Copeland going to work. He's now got 10 after going right around Alex Steen. Here's Martin Somerville, who Luke Laux says, despite being a sophomore, he's the loudest voice out there. If anybody's going to get his teammates going, it'll be him. He sets up Chauncey Wiggins, who started the second half on the bench after a very quiet first half. He's got his first points of the game.
Yeah, message received, right? Like, you know, either play hard or you'll sit, and I don't think he likes sitting on that bench because he stroked a cold-blooded quarter 3.
All 4 of his attempts from the floor have been from beyond the arc. Answered right back by Paul McNeil Jr.
19 points now for that young man. I think, what is that, his 5th triple.
Somerville off the back iron and out of bounds. And that'll take us to our under 12 media timeout, where NC State has it on cruise control. It's a Saturday in January, and so that must mean college basketball on the men's side all day long here on the ACC Network. When we wrap things up here, we'll send you to Pittsburgh, where the Panthers and the Orange will tip off at 2 o'clock, presented by Food Lion. And the fun will wrap up at 6 o'clock with North Carolina and its superstar freshman Caleb Wilson taking on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, followed by the premiere of We're Number One, the 1993 North Carolina Tar Heels story with Dean Smith and the guys, and they have some footage, I am told, that you have never seen before, as well as new interviews and other features. So it's going to be a long day, a good day of men's college basketball here on the ACC Network. And, well, so much more to talk about in terms of ACC hoops this year in terms of prospects. The non-conference went so well that as of Friday in the net rankings, 13 ACC teams rank among the top 70 in the country. That's the most of any league. And 8 of those are in the top 40.
Yeah, it's a much better conference this year. 15 teams, all with double digits and wins. Yeah, you got Duke, Clemson at the top of the ACC standings, but don't sleep on Miami. They've won 8 straight games, Doug.
McNeil, no. Into the game for the rebound, Alir Malouk for Florida State. Well, there's another game not on the ACC network that I'm really looking forward to coming up at the top of the hour over on ESPN. Duke and SMU as Basong gets the bucket and the foul. Duke, of course, is 14-1, but SMU back into the national rankings for the first time in years this week. This will be a huge test for the Mustangs when they go in to Cameron Indoor. Again, that's on ESPN at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, and they're playing some good basketball. They gave Carolina a good smacking and down in Dallas last time that they played. And I tell you what, I like watching this Cam Boozer. He is much CTV, so that's going to be a good one.
Toma Basong at the foul line. He has been one of the few bright spots this afternoon for the Seminoles.
Yeah, he had the 5 points in the first half. He had great energy. Kind of got the Seminoles going a little bit. Breathed some life into this squad with that bump off the bench that he provided.
Williams had it poked away. Basong has been a pest defensively today.
Yeah, he's been up in Williams, and Williams is using that off arm to push off a lot, but the officials are not calling.
If they don't call it, it's not a push-off. Keep doing it.
You're absolutely right. I was the master of trying to get away with anything that I could.
Of course. How did you stick in the NBA for 15 years?
This is my athleticism, that's for sure. I'm the all-time ACC fouls leader, so I know a few things about pushing and grabbing guys.
Coach Smith didn't mind. It worked out more often than not, I imagine.
Well, we needed somebody to do the dirty work, and I was up for that task. The funny thing is, I don't remember fouling out of many games. I was given 5 fouls, and I think I used 4.5 in most every basketball game.
Moussa Sanye gets 1 out of 2. He was the last addition to the freshman recruiting class for Will Wade over the summer. Matt Abel got a hand on it. He was the last to touch, so Florida State will keep it.
Well, Florida State's kind of gone back to shooting that ball quickly from the outside. And obviously, huge deficit. And I don't think they can come back and win this basketball game, even with 10.5 minutes to play. I could be wrong, but they haven't shown enough life. They haven't shown enough defense to make me think that they're going to do that. But what they have to do, they have to try to establish something for the next time that they play, right? So they can't get sloppy where it's just pick-up basketball game. They still got to work on their sets. They still have to be fundamentally sound defensively. I guess what I'm trying to say is bad play will lead to worse play. Good play will lead to better play the next time they step on the floor. There was a nice little shot off glass. That was old school like Tim Duncan there.
Yeah,
he was on the board.
Martin Somerville, who last year was the Rookie of the Year in the American East Conference for UMass Lowell, with his first 2 points today. Midway through the second half in a game that was immediately seized by NC State. They scored the first 11 before the Seminoles finally got on the board. Wiggins leads the break. Good hustle and pursuit by Alir Malouk, who didn't play in the first half, but the sophomore from Baldwin, PA, looking for more minutes.
Yeah, and that's the kind of play I'm talking about, right? Like rushing the ball up the floor, sharing it, getting on the offensive glass, and getting the putback. Now they're going to get a blocking foul here, legal screen.
Yeah, on Sanye rather. Will Wade has tested his team. They survived their non-conference. Didn't win every game they would have liked to, of course. Lost to Texas, lost at Auburn. lost to Kansas in overtime, but they were close. And this is a team that, starting the day, Joe Lunardi had him on the right side of the bracket as one of the last 4 byes in the field of 68.
Yeah, one of the toughest non-conference schedules in the country. He's not afraid of anybody. He'll play any place, anywhere, anytime.
Well, the Wolfpack was picked 4th in the preseason in the ACC behind Duke, Louisville, and North Carolina. And while some people may feel like Virginia would be that 4th team now, you can't just disregard this talented Wolfpack team.
No, you better not. If you sleep on them like I think the Seminoles did this morning, afternoon, you're going to be in trouble. They got some talent and they play hard. They play together. Their passing is with precision.
And they can shoot it.
And right now, we talked about one of the top 3-point shooting teams in the ACC, and they are getting after it this afternoon, knocking in 11 in the first half, and that trend here in the second half has continued.
And the Wolfpack are expecting in their next game against Georgia Tech a week from today to have another one of their very good shooters, Trey Holloman, back from that ankle injury.
Yeah, that was a long 2 right there, and almost a 3-point shot on that right side of the floor.
But Jay Jones makes it 87-54. Foul on Matt Abel for NC State.
Kind of one of those delayed calls by the official. He kind of really wanted the play to just play on. He'd been letting a lot of contact go, but when you go to the ball, go to the ground with the basketball, that it really puts a lot of pressure on the officials to at least have to stop the play and make a call at that point. So I think the officials want to get this game over about as fast as Coach Louts would like to at this point.
That is Abel's 4th foul. He and Breed both have 4. The starting point guard for the Seminoles, Robert McCray, already fouling out of the ball game this afternoon.
And it's tough. You're in the ACC, especially you're at home. You want to have a good showing. And I've been on the wrong side of some of these beatdowns before. Not so much when I was at Carolina, but certainly when I played in the NBA. And the things that he did during the holiday break, getting his team together, and not to say that they didn't know each other, but to get them to understand where everyone's coming from, and to build that camaraderie, do those types of things to be able to survive moments like this when you have a stinker on the floor.
Kobe McGee can't make the second. And the miss pulled down by Darian Williams, the senior from Sacramento.
Yeah, Williams having a nice game. I talked about him being one of those stat sheet stuffers. 17 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, knocked in a couple triples.
Kind of a clunky offensive set for NC State. Doesn't matter. Just give the ball to Williams and he'll rattle in the 3.
Yeah, his 3rd triple now, 20 points, and he's leading all scorers, and he's doing a great job. He's one of these guys that they got from Texas Tech who he wasn't the main guy for the Red Raiders, but he was the glue guy for the Red Raiders.
Abel with the steal. Arsenault to the bucket, and he'll have a chance for 3.
But now they're just showing off. They're getting steals, they're getting transition buckets, they're knocking in, was that 15 threes in the game? My goodness, Wolfpack just taking it right to the Noles.
As NC State closes in on a 3rd win of the conference schedule, here's what's next for Will Wade's crew. Next Saturday against Georgia Tech, then a big game against Clemson. Pittsburgh, Syracuse, and Wake Forest as the Pack looks to make its way through the month of January.
They playing like this, they're going to be okay. I don't see any problem against Georgia Tech. And as much as I like Coach David Stoudemire, his team is just not ready for prime time as of yet. Not for this smoke that is Wolfpack. And can blow on you.
Well, the Wolfpack has 5 different players in double figures, steamrolling their way to triple figures.
It's an impressive group. This is my first time getting up close and look at a Will Wade team, and I see why he's been so successful everywhere he's gone. His teams are motivated and they are locked in defensively, and they play with energy and passion.
20 for Williams, 19 for McNeil, 13 for Abel and Lubin, and 10 points, 6 assists, 3 steals for Quadir Copeland.
Yeah, they got 5 guys at double figure scoring, and not surprising. Knocking down this another triple, their 16th triple of the ball game. 16 triples. And if I'm Coach Laux over there, I wouldn't know how you would stop all of these triples. They're coming from all over the floor.
Abel, McNeil.
Give McNeil 20 points now. He's knocked in 5 triples of his own.
NC State pressuring still, looking to force more turnovers on Florida State.
Well, Arsenal just down here with a nice little step back triple, and bench loves it, and then working hard on the offensive glass there with McNeil follow jam. He's got 21. The old song said, Mama said there'll be days like this.
Yep.
And this is where the coaching, this is where a good coach really earns his money, right? It's easy in the wins to keep guys hungry and motivated and working hard. It's a lot tougher when you're on the wrong side of a 40-point beatdown.
Meanwhile, the beat goes on for the workmanlike Van Allen Lubin. 100 points. The last time NC State scored 100 in an ACC game on the road, you have to go all the way back to 1991 in a loss at Maryland. Wow. 35 years later.
35 years ago?
Yeah.
Well, that was on the wrong side of a 100-point game. They're going to be on the right side of a 100-point game today. I said 40 points. Are they up by 45? It's hard to do math live. It's hard for me to do math anytime, but
indeed it is.
Certainly live on air. So 45 points. They've done it offensively. They've done it defensively. They do give up a triple there. Stroking it from the outside.
Jay Jones in double figures now. Seminoles up to 58 points. Lubin's pass taken away by Jones, the senior from Neptune Beach, Florida, looking for 3 at the other end, and he missed everything.
And why he probably was distracted is Lubin turned the ball over. The biggest guy on the floor sprints down and challenges the shot. That's one effort on Lubin's part, but also he's been taught, you turn the ball over, you get back on defense and hustle back and try to make up for your mistake, and that's exactly what Lubin did.
You know, you played a hand in ending the career of LeJay Jones's father at Oklahoma. Your senior year, LeJay's father, Jackie Jones, was the Big 8 Conference Newcomer of the Year for the Oklahoma Sooners. He averaged 15 and 7. And your North Carolina Tar Heels took him out.
Yeah, that's right. We beat them in the NCAA tournament. They were #1 in the country. And Rick Fox hits a runner along the baseline to give us the upset to send us back to the Sweet 16.
And Dean Smith said after that broadcast on the air for CBS, I really wanted to get this one for Scott so he could play another game, because you had a rough one, even though the Tar Heels beat the Sooners that game, and you were able to bounce back, and in a losing effort in the Sweet 16, your final college game, you played very, very well.
Rough game is not even the word for it. I was terrible in that game against the Sooners as NC State gets another red out for Lubin. Yes, I do remember that quite well, and I fouled out of that basketball game. I think it was on the bench with 5 fouls as well.
And your opponent's son has the basketball right now, and he knows about that game. He immediately yesterday said, when told Scott Williams was going to be here, he's like, oh yeah, that Rick Fox beat my dad's team. He knew immediately the reference to that ball game.
Yeah, Rick saved us on that one, as he did many times throughout the course of that season. We weren't a very good team as far as Carolina teams go. We lost double digits.
But strong
but
to the
finished
bucket.
with 20 wins and got a chance to get back to the Sweet 16, where Coach Smith had a streak of double-digit trips to the Sweet 16. So we didn't want to be the group that broke that streak for Coach Smith.
Abel, air ball on the runner. Here comes Jones, going end to end, just like his daddy used to do for the Sooners.
No quitting Jones, that's for sure. He's been balling here these last 5 minutes. He's going to play to the final horn regardless of the score. Showing off his hops, hair flopping in the wind.
Well, we will get you to Pittsburgh for the start of the Panthers and the Orange in just a few moments as Breed buries the three. The rest of this game between NC State and Florida State, we're going to switch over to ACC Network Extra. So tune there to watch us here on ACC Network. After the break, we'll take you to Pittsburgh, where Eric Rothman and Terrence Oglesby will have the Orange and the Panthers for you. Well, Luke Laux and the Florida State Seminoles will have to regroup and turn around for a late night tip, 9 o'clock at the JMA Wireless Dome Tuesday against Syracuse, a game you can see on ACC Network. And then a game against Wake Forest, then on ESPNU against Miami. And then SMU and Cal. It doesn't get any easier for this first-year head coach, whose team is about to fall to 0-3 in league play, 7-9 in conference. And the Noles felt like they had maybe turned a corner coming out of the Christmas break. They had played better in their 2 tough games against the other 2 teams from Tobacco Road. Losses, yes, but against Carolina and Duke, they had shown signs of getting better, but this is a big step back so far here today.
Yeah, a huge step back. They shot 56% against Duke for the game, and they're not even at 40.7% in this one, but it's been their defense. Obviously, you've given up 107 points, and you have let NC State, who shot 52% in the first half, shoot 63% here in the second half.
From the three-point line.
Yeah.
And again, this is the best shooting three-point team in the ACC from NC State, but you can't allow them to go off as they have here today.
No.
17 for 32 as a team from beyond the three-point line for the Wolfpack.
Yeah, 53% from behind the arc, and the fact that you've given up 17 threes, like, you got to understand that that's what they do. You didn't pay attention to the scouting report enough to lock in and say we got to take away their strength and try to make them play in that area between the paint and the three-point line. But don't let them just fire up threes from out there behind the arc, because that was been a backbreaker to the Noles today.
Breed hits the three as Will Wade goes a little deeper into his bench. He's got Jordan Snell, number 0, a senior from Cary, North Carolina, out there. Colt Langdon as well, a redshirt freshman from Raleigh, is on the floor. Trying to throw it down on a defender was Leger Jones.
Yeah, Jones has been that guy. Say, I'm gonna play a full 40 minutes today, and you know it's been tough. They lost McCray at about the 13-minute mark. Their team leader with those 5 fouls, and they have just kind of been disjointed offensively for most of this second half. And they'll get him back. They'll figure it out. They'll get in that lab. They'll get to work, and they'll have to just be better next time that they step on the floor defensively. You know what he's talking about? We talked about all the threes, and then they come out of that timeout and they give up a 3. So you just got to figure how to lock into a defensive plan, a scheme, and then if that's not working, make some adjustments. And they didn't make any adjustments from the first half to the second half.
Now Breed is fouled out of the game, sending Cam Miles back to the free throw line. The foul will send Basson to the line.
Yeah, and I know it's, obviously that's too little too late, but you love that effort by Basson, right? Like, that's that one guy off the bench Coach Loucks can look to and say, hey, I got something with this kid right here. Regardless of where we're at, this kid's going to give me an effort. And sometimes as a first-year coach, you have to identify the guys that, not just from a skill standpoint, but who has it in their heart? Who's got that want to? Who's got that dog in them to keep competing?
Well, Basson has 14 points to lead all Seminoles after those two made free throws. Final minute of play here at the Tucker Center. Colt Langdon looking to get himself into the scoring column, can't do it.
Been the offensive rebounds, the drives to the basket, the points off the turnovers, a lot of hustle plays.
Abel, boy, he lit it up early. He's now got a career high for the freshman from Baltimore. He has been part of a wild attack from the outside for the Wolfpack.
Yeah, that was that guy. We got a chance to speak to Coach Wade before the game, and he was very impressed with that young fella. He said he's just a good, smart, young player that knows how to play, plays with a poise and a toughness for a freshman that you don't see out of many freshmen.
Yeah, 15 points now for Matt Abel, matches the 15 he scored against Seton Hall in Maui. And now with the shot clock off, this will wind up being the second highest scoring game of the season for NC State. They put 114 on North Carolina Central, and they put 113 in a blowout victory on Florida State.
Yeah, I'm impressed with this NC State Wolfpack team. And they had a lot of talented players on that squad that seem to like playing with one another. The ACC has been put on notice. Don't mess with the Wolfpack and do not take them lightly.
6 in double figures, led by Darian Williams and Paul McNeil. For Scott Williams and our entire crew, I'm Doug Sherman saying thanks for watching. So long from Tallahassee, Florida.
Moving on here in ACC play, NC State on the road at Florida State, looking to win back-to-back road games for the first time since 2021. First half, NC State dominating early, Joel.
Yeah, I mean, Darian Williams, you talk about having a guy who needs to get it going. He got it going this game, and when you hit threes, it makes the game a little bit easier.
Yeah, that was Matt Abel there from beyond the arc. He was 4 for 4 from deep in the first half. Second half, continuing that domination. Paul McNeil Jr. gets in from downtown. They could not miss. He was 5 for 10 from beyond the arc. And then here, he gets it done at the rack. Look, Florida State could really not get any threes to fall, when on the other side of things, NC State could not stop the threes from falling. 113-69, your final there in Tallahassee. The Pack rolled to victory. Here's the numbers for you here. A 44-point road win, largest road win against an ACC opponent in program history. Their 19 threes on the night ties a single game record. Quick comment on NC State. It feels like they're finding a rhythm now in league play, Joel.
Yeah, I think for this team, it was just about finding their edge, right? They have the pieces. They have Darian Williams, who, wasn't playing bad, but he could play better. He could give more for this team, and that's what he's done in these last 2 games. So they're slowly but surely starting to get it going. Look, it might be, you might say Florida State has been struggling, but when you go on the ACC and you get a road win by this much, it says a lot because you have to come together as a team. That's what NC State is doing. They have to keep it rolling so that when those big-time opportunities that they've lost out on early in the season, when they come, they'll be able to capitalize on those.
Pure domination on both ends of the floor. They shot it great, obviously the 19 threes, but second chance points, points off turnovers, all the little things, assist numbers. NC State was elite, and they're starting to gain a little bit more depth. A guy we haven't seen all that much this year, Terrence Archino, the transfer from Houston, 12 points last game, 13 points this game, a great backcourt weapon for Will Wade, and just adding depth and confidence for this group. I think they might be finding their edge.
And there was a lot to do about Darian Williams, a preseason ACC Player of the Year. Finished with 20 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists in this game.
We're not supposed to talk about that. He was plus 33.
I'm sorry.
Taylor, he was plus 33 out there and played great.
Don't shoot the messenger. That's now back-to-back 20-point games, by the way, for Darian Williams when he had just 16 combined in his previous 3.